Jem sees her father slip into the earth after crying out and calling, "Find your mother! Find your sister! Get out! Run!" After, after seeing the last bit of his face disappear underneath into the ground, she can feel it. The bile begins to rise up and up and up and up, and eventually she loses it all there on the sand. It's just too much. Hi there, my name is Kenneth. I'm the Lone Dice Guy. Thank you so much for joining me for my solo 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons adventure, normally as Ming Zhao, a monk of the Order of the Dragon. But today, I'm playing as Jem Lovec, one of Ming's companions. And so we're kind of going through her backstory a little bit and what's happened in the past and how this all connects to what I believe is the greater narrative that's kind of at play here. And so it's kind of, I'm having fun with it. So, but definitely Jem's past right now is turning out much darker than I had maybe originally envisioned. She's just seen her father being sucked into whatever that is. We have no idea what's going on. And his last command, his last request really of her was, find the family, get out. Can she do that? So let's we're I think we're still kind of in the same scene-ish. I don't think this is a different scene per se. And so we're going to keep everything kind of similar at what it is. The new objective is to find Ginny and find her mother. But she can't go into the village, so she's like, what do I do? I'm going to have Jem make a knowledge, or just a nature check, sorry. And the reason for that, I'm thinking, is after she throws up from anxiety of what's going on the sand, I'm thinking maybe like she'll look up and see like what clearly are tracks in the sand or something, right? Maybe she can find out where people have gone. Maybe someone escaped. Anyone escaped from this horrible thing that's happening. So DC 10 plus 5. Actually, no, we're gonna say it's our chaos rank is at 6 right now. And so 10 plus 6, 16. And she's also just done up, so we'll add 1. So 17's the DC. Nice. 14 plus 5 is 19. Great. So as she finally kind of clears her head, and Jem looks up and sees in the sand a set of tracks leading away from the village. And she, almost like hope immediately springs up. Maybe someone got out. Maybe Jenny got out. Maybe her mom got out. Who knows? Someone got out before all this went down. And so Ginny sees the tracks going off into the desert and she can't go in the village, so we follow the tracks. Yes, and so now the 25-year-old Ginny spirit inside, that's kind of watching all this happen, her memory is still fuzzy on this time, so whatever happens next, she doesn't remember. But she can't, as up until this point, it's now coming back to her. And she's feeling this feeling of dread. Like she knows something bad's about to happen. She just doesn't know what. But either way, she's kind of following along with her 17-year-old self. They follow the tracks through the desert and eventually come to what 25-year-old Ginny recognizes as, or 25-year-old Jem, recognizes as the ruins where Ginny was talking to whatever disembodied voice. But she can tell that 17-year-old Jem doesn't know what this place is. And she can even hear her whisper to herself, what's going on? Where am I? And again, at this point, the sun has come up. Oh, it's like it's definitely sunrise now, and so the sun's in the sky. Blue light is baking the whole desert, but also the glow, the purplish black light glow is still emanating from the village, and it's just making the whole region look otherworldly. And so she's following, and the tracks obviously lead into the main door. Here's my question. Does she see anyone else? Or are there any other tracks besides the one track she's following? I think it's unlikely. So 14 was a yes. There is another set of tracks. Interesting. Okay, we'll do this. D6. D6 evens. The tracks are leading also into the main room, or they're leading somewhere else, not here. For odds, so odds away, evens in. Even 4, even, so it's leading in. Okay. Interesting. I don't know what to do with that. Okay, so there's two now. So at some point, two sets of tracks are joined together. Oh, that's a good question. Actually, I'm not gonna. I can use logic here. I don't need to roll for this. So Jem notices it. Both versions of her, that the tracks, it's one single file. It looks like the person stopped, and then another set of tracks appeared, and just seemingly out of nowhere, and then they both walked in. So weird. Okay, so Jem continues down the steps into the ruins. And again, 25-year-old Jem is freaking out. She knows, oh my gosh, something bad's happening here. I'm remembering it now as every step that 17-year-old me takes. I'm remembering it more and more and more and more and more and more. The 17-year-old Jem is just, at this point, the shock is so too much. She's not able to process that she might be, like, she's just basically working on autopilot, trying to find anyone from the village. All right. I'm going to roll for this, but, this is a near sure thing. Do we find Jenny down here? 68, that's a yes. Anyway, they're walking down, as Jem walks into this, again, this cathedral is lit up but unlike what 25-year-old Jem saw earlier, now it's lit up with the same eerie blue, black light, purple glow, almost like ultraviolet, what we would call ultraviolet light. And it's emanating from behind the empty throne on the other side, throne/altar on the other side of the room. Jem walks towards it trepidatiously. She's confused. Right? She's slowly pulling her bow out, whatever. Knocking an arrow, but still, it's almost instinct. It's not really her doing it on purpose. And as she goes around the corner, she sees it. This large, crystalline stone, and it is pulsing. This black fluorescent light. Does Jem recognize the stone? 17-year-old Jem does no clue. Does 25-year-old Jem recognize the stone? We give her a history check. Nice. So she got a 17. I didn't really do DC because really she does. And so she sees the stone and boom, like her spiritual 17-year-old self or the 24-year-old self, 25-year-old self, it's like her mind explodes. She recognizes it immediately as the same stone that her and Ming destroyed in the burial mound, way back when they fought Jenny last time. She recognizes it's the same exact, it's much larger, but she recognizes it immediately. And kneeling in front of it is Jenny. Jem can feel her 17-year-old self go, just barely make a noise. And Jenny quickly turns around. Her hands quickly glow some greenish hue. And then she drops them. And, Sister, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be hunting. And you can tell she's working really hard to pull back and strain her emotions, like to not start crying. What do you mean? What are you doing? What is that thing? What is that light? What's happening at the village? I don't know. I did what he said. And who's he? Who are you talking about? What are you doing here? I just wanted to help and be able to help you guys. And I just, what are you talking about? What is going on? Explain, please. I was learning magic in secret. He was helping me. And she glances over to the stone, and Jem looks over and sees it, but slowly, just a very slowly, this creature walks on the other side. And for a moment, for just a split second, Jem sees this creature for what it really is. It's a 6'5" tall, devilish-looking demonic being. It's got large horns that spiral out and down and then out in this direction. At least maybe like a 3-foot span on its head. Its teeth are gnarly and bent in all kinds of different ways, pure black. Its eyes are the what would be the whites are pitch black, and they're yellow inside, where the irises are yellow. Its skin looks like a burnt hue in between maroon and even darker version of crimson. It's got some kind of armor on, some kind of sickening-looking demonic breastplate with large pauldrons, and then it's got a large lance on. Think of like it sounds like I'm describing a stereotypical devil, right? But not really. It's got a large lance that it's holding on to, and it's just kind of snarling for a second. But seriously, it's just for a second. And as it steps forward, it quickly turns into that of a tiefling. Very similar colored skin, horns that are much smaller but more wrap around the head more, and it's got looks to have modest acolyte, like almost clerical robes on, holding a quarterstaff. And he walks forward. Hello. Are you Ginny's sister? And Ginny interrupts. Yes, that's her. She'll be okay, right? And the tiefling looks at Ginny's sister. Quiet. What are you doing here? Looking at Jem. I came to find my sister. Who are you? And she still has her bow drawn, and she can feel herself slowly drawing back. Who are you? Who is that? Let's get a name. All right. Let's figure out, I don't know. Let's figure out. Again, turning to Xanathar's, is a guide to everything for our name. That is a 24. We've got Chimer. I like that name. And just out of curiosity, what's his, you can roll virtues. 14, debauchery. Oh, kind of gets what he wants, I'm Chimer. And you must be Jem. Am I correct? Yes, you are. Now, what is going on at the village, and how is my sister connected to all of this? Explain yourself. I've simply been teaching your sister a way to contribute. And she's doing that now. At this point, Jenny starts to break down and cry. I'm going to have Jem do perception check. A natural 20. Wow. Okay, so probably should have said a DC, but still 20 plus 2 is, 20 plus 6 is 26, but still natural 20. At this point, Jem looks over and she can see that Ginny has not moved once. Like she's turned to look, but she hasn't. Her hands are still up in some kind of like occultic like sign, and that's when it hits her. Jenny's doing this ritual, some kind of ritual. She's in the middle of it right now. Jenny, what are you doing? Drop the ritual. I can't. It won't let me. What? Tell her to help us stop the ritual. It's out of my hands. She's already begun it, and it cannot stop until it is finished. What ritual is she doing? Tell me now. At this point, her bow is fully drawn, and she points her bow at Chimer. Foolish girl. Do you honestly think that you could do anything to me? I can try. So she lets loose the arrow. 13 plus 9 is 21. That's definitely going to hit. Nice. 8 plus 5. That's 13 points of damage. Now he's going to roll something. Oh, no. He rolls the exact same, so he's also going to do his thing. Oh. All right, so he's only able to block 5 of the... 7 of the 8 plus 5, 13. 7 of the 13 damage coming his way. So Jem lets loose the arrow to fly. Shoots across, and he quickly, almost instinctively, he just reaches up. He started moving before Jem even let go of the arrow, and he grabs it out of the air and crushes the arrow. But blood can be seen coming from his hand, so he wasn't quite quick enough. But still, he is hurt. Please don't fight. It's not going to help anyone. So Jem turns to and starts to walk towards Ginny, and she reaches to kind of grab her. I wouldn't do that if I were you. You have no idea what will happen when you touch her. She's mid-ritual. I highly suggest you just let it finish. What is this ritual? Tell me. He nods to the stone. She's creating one of these. What is one of these? What is this stone? What does it do? That's a good question. Let's turn to the meaning and stuff. So, what do these stones do? 14. Abandon. 46. Abandon food. I'll do it one more time. I think I know what this is, though. 45. Celebrate. And 12. Opposition. Celebrate opposition. Oh, I know what this is. Oh, I know what this is. Oh, my. All right. At this point, Chimer just... You want to know what this is? She's making me a catalyst stone. This stone will help me in my endeavors. Your endeavors to do what? Be immortal. Never die. To seek the ultimate in unlife. I don't want to be a lich or one of those decrepit things that walks the earth that your family hunts. No. Even devils must die. I want to live forever. And she has just helped me get one step closer. At that point, I think the light is going to change. It's what once was a flip with the kind of the what do you call it? Ultraviolet like black light look. Now shifts and it's putting off this blue pulse. Oh, it's almost time. Ginny, you've done a wonderful job. As promised, I will finish teaching you. everything you need to know about the world of necromancy. And I think at that point, Jem takes a step back. Jenny, what? What? He lies. This demon lies. Doesn't he? No, sis. He's been teaching me how to control life and death so I could be useful. How cool would it be if, whenever hunters get killed, if we could bring them back? Isn't that good? They would never have to die. Jenny, it's natural for things to die. Things must die. Things have to die. That's what we do. We stop undead and creatures like this from living forever for a reason. Life must end, girl. But I wanted to help. You've not helped at all. She turns to Keimer. What happens to the people in the village? I saw the tendrils, and I saw my father get dragged down into the earth with those same tendrils. What happened to him? I think at this point, Jenny is going to turn around. What? But he's supposed to be with you. He's gone. Lost forever. His very soul has been absorbed into this wonderful piece of magical equipment. Don't worry, he's not suffering, but you'll never see him again. At that point, Jem, the anger has risen to a point where she's so angry. Jenny's losing it. But again, the light, Jenny's over there. I think she realizes what's happening. And the light, and just as Jem goes to grab her rapier and start to charge forward, she's so pissed. At that point, he goes, and it's time for us to leave. And he touches the stone. And remember, Jenny's still like manipulating her hands doing this. And he looks at Jem square in the eye. And then he disappears. Jenny disappears. The giant stone disappears. In fact, the room goes dark entirely. Jem feels herself kind of trip over her own feet and gonna go sprawling onto the floor. And it's just silent. All that's left now is very, very faint trace of sunlight peeking down through the stairs at the edge of the room. And it's silent. And all she can hear is the wind blowing outside, carrying the desert sands to and fro. It takes a couple moments, but she eventually sits up and weeps. She can tell it's whatever's just happened, it's some kind of defeat. Her sister has been taken and is being taught and used by whatever this creature is, this demonic demon or devil, or whatever she saw for a split second. But the village, she thinks for a moment, is the village truly gone? Maybe they're not. And there's a sliver of hope. Maybe they're not. And so she stands up and gropes, and using, she's half elf, right? So she's using whatever low light capability she has. She gropes her way back to the entrance and comes out, and the bright light, whatever. And she starts running back to the village. And she's running at full speed. Now, 25-year-old Jem in spirit is still there with her. And her mind is reeling. She now realizes the stone that her and Ming destroyed, it was whatever that creature was making, it was made by it. And she puts two and two. She keeps putting this, as she's seeing her younger self run, she's putting these thoughts together, and her mind is reeling at the fact that, yet again, she saw her sister using one of those stones to bring people back to the death. And she realizes that her sister played her. That her sister, this whole time, played her. And she's so angry. Before, she wanted to maybe kind of save her sister. Maybe there was hope that Jenny was still in there, right? No, She feels an anger that she wants to take her sister out permanently. To know that her sister went from crying at the sight of this ritual to willingly doing what she was doing in that burial mound, causing the undead to rise, and it ended up causing the death of someone special to Ming. She just is angry. Eventually, her younger self gets back to the village and the glow was gone. And she wanders around and there's not a soul. There's no clothing left behind, no traces of blood anywhere. Just, it's like all several thousand people in the village just vanished into thin air. She walks around and finally spends the whole day going from house to house to house to house to house to house to house, hoping and praying that she'll find someone left behind. Finally, after all day of searching, she realizes there's no one left. She is the last of her clan. Jenny doesn't count. In her mind, Jenny doesn't count. She's the last of her clan, the last of her tribe. And she breaks down. She goes home, crawls into her bed, and weeps. And weeps and weeps. For days. 25-year-old Jem is forced to watch for days. And she remembers every agonizing second as it happens. And then she feels it. Some kind of tug, almost like on the nape of her neck. She can feel something tugging her out. And she looks up and sees a spindly thread of light coming through the sky. And that thread glows into a large, what looks to be path that she could walk on, almost like a bridge in the sky made of light. And she feels her kind of weird disembodied spirit leave her younger self's body. And the last thing she sees is her younger self getting out of bed, preparing food, and preparing to leave the village. And it just clicks that the next, 25 to 17, the next 7 years of her life that she dedicates to finding her sister were relatively fruitless until she met a young monk named Ming. She realizes that for that 7 years, while she did get stronger, but it wasn't until she met Ming that she started seeing progress in finding her sister. And she starts to float back up, and she kind of feels herself land on this path of light. And looks down and she sees her actual 25-year-old body, normal body. And she looks at her village one last time as she kind of floats over it in the sky. Then seeing her younger self walk out of her house and then walk off into the desert. She turns and starts walking up the path, thinking this may be the way out. And the next thing she knows, before she knows it, she can feel her head pounding. Foo-foom, foo-foom, foo-foom. She can feel a bunch of the old wounds that she had sustained from the spider bite. She remembers now, oh yeah, I was in a fight with a bunch of spiders in the desert. And then she feels bile, her stomach hurts. She gains more feeling in her actual physical body as she crawls higher and higher along this path. And eventually she gets to a single point of light, and she slowly reaches up and touches it. And everything goes white, bright flash. And she feels her eyes close, but she can't stop the flash. She's just so blinded by light. And next thing she knows, she smells campfire smoke, what smells to be some kind of meat cooking, the sound of 2 or 3 people talking, animals and sheep bleating in the distance. And she slowly opens her eyes, and she's in what looks to be like a nomadic tent. And across from her, over on the other side of a fire, she sees 2 older men and 1 younger man, around her age, boy, sitting on the other side of the fire and kind of cocking their heads like this. And looking at her, she slowly sits up and just her head's pounding. Vroom, vroom. She feels down and sees that her wounds have been healed. And so she quickly looks around for her clothes and grabs the cloak and puts it over her, and she's asked, and she tries to speak, but her throat is so parched and dry. And then she remembers she got poisoned, right? And she's looking around her body and she sees these like green veins in her arms. And so the poison's still very clearly in her body, still very active. And at that point, they're all, doing this motion, and she kind of picks up that they wanted to stay, lay down. The boy around her, boy her age, brings her some kind of tea or some kind of like yak tea almost kind of like thing. And they give her a bowl of some whatever stew they're making. And so she eats, drinks the tea, and feels sleepy again and drifts off to sleep. But this time, she actually sleeps. No dreams. Jem Lovec is back in her body, and she remembers exactly why she left her village. But she also remembers why she came back. She came back in hopes that maybe she would find something. She couldn't remember why she left, but now she does. In hopes that maybe there's a clue she overlooked that has to do with that same stone that she's now seen twice. And so when she's well enough to travel again, she's going back to those ruins. It's time to figure out what's going on here. And with that, we're going to end this session again. So Jem is now back from her weird psychedelic adventure, back in her own body and back in her own time, in her own like time, space, whatever that was. She's back here, and she's got a goal. We're gonna go to those ruins and find out more about maybe what they were, if they're connected to those crystals, what those crystals were. Who knows? We've got some investigation to do, but she's got to heal up first. She's hurting. So, all right. With that, I think that's a great place to stop. Thank you so much for watching this. Really, I'm enjoying the snot out of this. I know I say it a couple videos, and I just love this. This is so much fun. I hope that you're enjoying it too. I really, really, truly do. Obviously, I'm not super high energy. I'm not super enthusiastic. I don't know if I'm keeping your attention. I don't know. But for those of the one or two watch, I really appreciate it. Really keep up. Like you guys make me want to do this more. But I'm enjoying it just for me. I'm not trying to get internet famous. I'm not trying to, I'm just enjoying this. And I really hope you are too. I'm enjoying the story so far. And I think Jem just became a bit more important than maybe I thought she would be. But hey, whatevs, right? So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm Kenneth, the Lone Dice Guy. Remember to do all the dumb YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, follow, share, whatever. I will see you in the next one as we continue Jem's little mini adventure. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.